it's Kim here, your friendly local yarn shop owner, and you might know me from my yarn shop, Alterknit Universe. Otherwise, I'm Kim Smith Happy all over the interwebs. I am here today to talk to you guys about and get us started on a knit along. This pattern here, which I released last year during Pride Month, is called the Modular Progressive Pride Flag, and it is knitted in pieces, so you never have to purl. And I'm so excited to be doing a knit along with everyone. A lot of people have asked me if it's suitable for beginners. And I would say, if you've never done any knitting before, this is probably not the greatest project to start on. But if you've done regular knits, you should be fine. We will be doing some increases and some decreases and a funky little joiny stitch, which is popularized by Skananigans. This pattern here is available both on my website, Alterknit Universe, and Ravelry.com. And £1 from every pattern sale goes towards the Trevor Project, which is something that Skananigans asked for us to do, and also to support our trans friends in the LGBTQ community. The Trevor Project do some amazing work, and if you want to check them out, there's a link in the description below so you can see all the good work that they do. I would pretty please urge you to buy a copy of the pattern. I will be going through step by step every week from now until the beginning of Pride, which is June. It's kind of hard to know which month is Pride Month anymore because people celebrate throughout the whole summer, which I love. You know, we should celebrate Pride every day. But if you follow along with us in these videos, you should hopefully get this done by the 1st of June. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully it'll work. Today's video is just going over supplies, the intro, a little bit of history about the flag and that kind of stuff. So if you are ready to start knitting, you can skip this video completely and wait until next week. Otherwise, join me while I ramble a little bit about the pattern and why the pride flag is so important. I completely fell in love with the modular design of Safe Space and Northeasternly by Skananigans, and I found myself adjusting the pattern a little bit to suit my style of knitting. It got me thinking, got my little design brain ticking, and I wondered if there was a way to do an entire design in small bite-sized pieces like this. Could I figure out a way to modify this genius method so I could add on elements to the right side as well as the left side? The possibilities would then be endless. I was busy creating very relaxed pieces for a really big awning outside Alterknit Universe, which is a local yarn shop I run near Bristol. And I wanted to try and make it obvious to passersby that we are a safe space for everyone, including the LGBTQIA+ community. The two ideas came together so seamlessly, pun intended, and thus the Modular Progressive Pride Flag was born. To keep it relatively simple, I've opted to go with the classic trans and black-brown stripes instead of adding in the intersex yellow with a purple circle, but there's no reason why you can't add that to your flag. The more the merrier. Okay, so the next thing I'd really love to talk to you guys about is the history of the pride flag. You know the horizontal rainbow stripes that we're used to seeing everywhere? That was designed by Gilbert Baker in 1978 for the San Francisco Gay Freedom Day Parade. When they designed it, it was said to represent aspects of natural life, like healing, sunlight, nature, harmony, and spirit. The first version actually had 8 colors and was flown during the parade. The flags were originally made by hand, but to make it accessible to more people, it was modified into the 6-color flag we know today. Fun fact, that was because 2 of the colors, I believe it was the teal and the bright magenta, were actually really difficult colors to get your hands on at the time. In 2018, the trans and black-brown chevron was added by non-binary American artist and designer Daniel Quasar, Zizer. And Daniel designed it to call for a more inclusive society. The chevron represents the trans people of color who stood up and brought queer rights to the forefront in the Stonewall Uprising of 1969. Although not being present when the riots started, 2 transgender women of color, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, were said to have been inspired by those who resisted arrest and fought back against the police raid. They went on to be prominent figures in the area, founding the Gay Liberation Front and radical activist group STAR. By adding these colors to the flag, we're honoring what they did and remembering a huge moment that sparked off gay rights movements of the 60s and 70s. And it's just as relevant now as it has ever been. There has been a lot of public injustice towards trans people, BIPOC, and people of color in the last few years. So this is a nice way to say, hey, I know the world sucks right now, but you're safe here, and we're still fighting for equal rights. Also, bonus fun fact, thousands of people marched in the streets of New York on June 28th, 1970, which was the first anniversary of Stonewall, and that was dubbed America's first gay pride parade. The chant that was heard was, "Say it loud, gay is proud." Now, that's not to say that there haven't been trans people of color in our world for hundreds and thousands of years during history, because there have been. And they're not going away, and they shouldn't have to hide either. So making something like this is such a nice way to just reaffirm that our lives are better when everyone feels comfortable. So I mentioned this a little bit just a second ago, but I will be releasing videos every Friday going through step by step. So the first week we're going to do the white bit, then we're going to do pink, then we're going to do blue, brown, black. Then the red, orange, and yellow sections are very similar. So we're going to do all that in 1 week. And then you've got green, blue, purple all in 1 week. And finally, the I-cord border all the way around, which will be our final week right before June 1st. If you want to get involved, you can either use the hashtag Modular Progressive Pride on Instagram, or you can join our Discord server, and there's an invite in the description box below for you. And it's a really amazing, supportive community there. You can choose your pronouns, and everyone's just lovely. It's got a bunch of people from our in-store knit group who come like almost every week and hang out here. But we've also got friends from all over the world that just pop in and share what they're working on. One thing I haven't mentioned is that this flag here behind me is our double knit version, but we also have a smaller version, which is this one here, and this one here is knit up in 4-ply. So the flag is very customizable. If you knitted the big version in 4-ply, obviously it would be a little bigger than this. We have even had someone dye yarn and make up a flag in Aran yarn to go behind their booth at yarn shows and everything, which is just incredible. Shout out to them. That brings me to supplies. This one in the back here was made with West Yorkshire Spinners double knit yarn, a mix and match. The white, pink, and light blue were made out of Bo Peep Pure. The brown, black, and all 6 colors in the big flag there are made out of Color Lab DK, which is a great washable yarn, everyday working horse kind of thing. And all of those you can find on our website, alterknituniverse.co.uk. But if you aren't local to us and you want to support small businesses, West Yorkshire Spinners is quite a big mill. They're reared, sheared, and spun up in West Yorkshire, and so you can probably find their yarns in most yarn shops around the UK. There's a couple of variations on some of these colors. They have quite a range of blues and green. Not to mention, I think it would be super fun if you substituted the light purple in for something more vibrant, but that is totally up to you. I would say no matter what you pick, you want to make sure that your pink and your light blue are kind of pastel colors, because they're really going to set themselves apart from the big, bright, colorful colors on the bottom. Hopefully that makes sense. This little sample here, which is our small one, our 4-ply, this was made completely out of, now I'm going to say this wrong, aren't I? Because I bet some of these aren't. So this little 4-ply flag here was made with 4-ply yarn. No duh, I just said that. But it's a mix of West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply and Lang Ya wool, which is honestly great because Lang Ya wool comes in little 50-gram balls, and we do little mini skeins of the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply, which I believe no other shop does. So if you want mini skeins, hit us up. Otherwise, you can get their 100-gram balls. As I said, a lot of yarn shops carry West Yorkshire Spinners, so it's worth checking with them. There are obviously some color substitutions that you could use to really make this your own, but if you're wanting to go traditional, you want really bright and bold colors for the main flag, and then you want your pastel, blue, and pink in your chevron, along with a nice bright white, a dark brown, and a nice clear black. Now, the I-cord I've done on both of these is with a black color, but you could choose any color you wanted. And if you wanted to get really fancy, you could also follow along with the stripes of the flag as you go. I think I'm going to be trying to do that on the sample that I am making along with this tutorial, just for fun, because I haven't tried that yet. And I am going to be using a set from Pixie Yarn. This set is awesome and custom dyed for us. There is a very limited quantity of them. They're going for 50 pounds each. You can find them on our website or come into the shop and pick one up. As soon as I released this pattern, Sophie from Pixie Yarn texted me and was like, oh my God, I have to dye up some yarn for this. And I was like, yes, let's do it in 2024. And she was like, no, I'm dyeing it now. So we've had these kits in store for a little bit, but I haven't shouted about them yet because I knew I wanted to do a make along with all you lovely people, and I wanted you guys to have a chance to grab some. That being said, you do not have to go with any of the yarns that I have suggested. We have a ton of amazing yarns in the shop that would actually be totally kick-ass for this pride flag. Or you could go one step further and support your favorite LGBTQ yarn dyer. There's a lot of them out there and they all do amazing colorways. So if your budget allows for it, I highly recommend supporting your favorite LGBTQ yarn dyer. On that note, it is worth saying that I am queer, I am bisexual, and I very much identify with the LGBTQ community. I have always been a part of it. Even when I was 13 and thought I was totally straight, I was part of an ally community in my high school back when I lived in California. And then when I moved over here, I have always been an advocate for supporting LGBTQ people. Back when it was really popular for people to say, oh, that's so gay, I was always the person that stood up and like told them to shut their mouth and pick a better insult, because being gay was not an insult. But anyway, I digress. The next thing we have to talk about is techniques. As you can see on the back of this flag here, each of these little sections are joined together by these slip stitches. And these are some of the joins that Skaynanigans originally wrote down for some of her other modular patterns, like the Northeasterly and the Safe Space blanket. So if you get addicted to this, which I'm sure you will, please go and check out some of her other patterns as well. In terms of other things you'll need, you're going to need a pair of scissors, a darning needle, some stitch markers, and some needles. So you can do this on straight needles if you want to. I know some people do these shorter sections on DPNs just because it's like really quick and easy. They're nice and short so they don't get in the way. So I would suggest getting a circular needle that you can do the entire project on. The small flag will use a 60 centimeter circular needle for the longest part, and the double knit flag will use a 120 centimeter circular needle for the entire flag. Obviously, if you're using DK, you want to get a needle like a 5.5. We want this to be really stretchy and squishy, and then we want the garter stitch to be all loosey-goosey. And if you're doing a 4-ply, I would suggest a 2.75 mil needle. Obviously, everyone's tension is different, but luckily with this, it is not a fitted garment. So even if your tension is wildly different, it's not going to make that much of an issue. Obviously, I wouldn't be a local yarn shop owner if I didn't shout out the products that I stock. We stock Addy needles here because they're a German company, so they're really up on their eco-friendliness, and their factory is like zero water waste, which is really awesome. And we've been working with them for almost 10 years now, and they just continually keep challenging and innovating, which is awesome. So if you fancy supporting Addy and us, we would obviously really appreciate it. But any needles you have lying around should work for this. Thank you for sticking around during this little intro vlog. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of history. I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone's flags. And if you want to join in, don't forget to join our Discord or use the hashtag Modular Progressive Pride on Instagram. Join us next week to start knitting. Bye! you guys and get us started on progressive. So to try and, so I mentioned this, we have even had someone make the brown. Actually, I don't know what the brown is made of. What is the brown made of? Is the brown Bo Peep pure as well? We do little mini skeins of the West Yorkshire spinach. And even when I was
and go.
All right, I think that's good.